Around 1 million Russians moved to Crimea after its annexation by Russia in 2014, according to Ukrainian authorities and human rights activists. Many Russian citizens saw the prospect of a life by the sea and the opportunity to earn money from the federal resources that Russian authorities were pouring into the peninsula. But the reality of Crimea proved such that many were soon forced to return to Russia. Crimea.Realities explains why not everyone's Russian dreams come true in Crimea. Following the Russian annexation in 2014, Russians moved en masse to Crimea, primarily from Russia's northern regions. However, Muscovites and residents of St. Petersburg can also be found on the Crimean peninsula. But as it turns out, the peninsula wasn't the best place for them to live. Many were forced to return to their homeland, Russia. Among the reasons for leaving Crimea, Russians cite overly expensive real estate, a lack of developed infrastructure, low wages, and a climate that isn't suitable for everyone. For others, the specific Crimean mentality was a deterrent. Some Russians are leaving the Crimean peninsula during Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. The military factor is increasingly visible in the region due to regular strikes by the Ukrainian defense forces on local Russian military installations. But according to Russian realtors and bloggers, this is far from the main reason for Russians leaving. Many began leaving the peninsula long before the war. According to statistics cited by Russian Crimean real estate consultant Ksenia Schwartz, out of 10 Russians who have arrived in recent years, only 2 remain on the peninsula. Ksenia Schwartz herself is from Perm, Russia, and also moved to Sevastopol after 2014. She believes she has successfully settled in the city. Most other Russians, she says, return to Russia, and not always to their home regions. There's one reason. People simply don't understand their capabilities. When Crimea became accessible and it became clear they could move, many began selling their property, taking their families with them and moving to Crimea in the hope that they would be welcomed, promised a middle ground, and that everything would be fine. A pleasant climate, a pleasant life, and plenty of work. That's the attitude people come with. Ksenia Schwartz writes in her blog, but not everyone's hopes are fulfilled. According to a realtor, newcomers often have problems settling in Sevastopol. This city has seen the largest influx of Russians since 2014. Russian authorities previously called it the leader in population growth among neighboring Russian regions. The first 6 months are euphoric, then it wears off, and people begin to look at the city more realistically. They begin to notice the downsides: poorly developed infrastructure, low wages, expensive groceries, and generally the high cost of living here. Their salaries simply aren't enough. That's the most common scenario, says Ksenia Schwartz. Finding themselves in such a situation, Russians most often leave Crimea without waiting for new social ties to form. She says, it is not known for certain how many Russian citizens left Crimea for economic reasons. There are no statistics. Moscow-based entrepreneur and blogger Alexander Sergeyev discusses the unique characteristics of the Crimean mentality. He experienced this firsthand when he moved to Crimea after the Russian annexation in 2014. According to estimates by the Representative Office of the President of Ukraine in the Autonomous Republic of Crimea, over the past decade, Russian authorities have displaced more than 35% of Crimea's residents, and the number of new arrivals to the Crimean peninsula is approximately 1 million people. The Majlis of the Crimean Tatar people notes that Russians have been moving en masse to Crimea illegally since 2014 and must leave if the peninsula is deoccupied. The Ukrainian authorities regard this as an artificial change in the demographic composition with the aim of displacing disloyal Ukrainian citizens and resettling the peninsula with Russian citizens. International law classifies this as a war crime.
Fire engulfed one of the Zagreb landmark buildings on Monday night, with several floors caught up in the raging blaze. According to Associated Press, authorities in Croatia did not report any casualties. The building used to house the headquarters of Vjesnik newspaper, one of the biggest Yugoslav news outlets. According to Croatian media, the floors where the fire was raging were used by government of Croatia for storage of their archive. Police said the cause of fire is yet to be determined through a thorough investigation. After all night battling the blaze, firefighters managed to contain the blaze in the early hours of Tuesday morning.